Back here, Indianapolis Big Ten Media Days. Tom Fornelli, Brian Jones. I'm Chip Patterson.
Yeah.
Fired up to be here, BJ.
Fired up.
Come on, this is a new era.
Yeah.
We
got DJ Hopeflow over there on the turntables, and you two guys and me. Fired up.
This is
Football
a
season,
new.
Chip.
Hey, get ready. This is a new era for the Big Ten. So when you think about the loss of divisions, when you think about the whole West Coast wing being added, what's going to be the dynamic of all these different schools fighting for one thing, and that's a spot to be playing on CBS in the Big Ten title game at the end of the season?
It's going to be very, very interesting, and I know that's a simplistic answer to your question, but with so many others now mixed in this gumbo, I think it's going to just heighten expectations of schools, and you've got 4 coming from the Pac-12, and who knew UCLA, which I played there for 2 years, is now a Big Ten school.
Legends.
That's just amazing. I'm a legend. No, still infamous. I love it in the fact that the reigning national champion comes from the Big Ten. Add that into the mix, and all the different changes we've seen, not just in this league, but across the college football landscape. I think it's going to make for one of the more exciting seasons across college football. Everything is so, let's say, it's up in the air, man. You got so much movement, but it's fun. And with challenges come opportunities. So there's an opportunity for someone, say, from the Pac-12 to come in, or, say in Iowa, who I think has a great opportunity to really step up and be disruptive this year, not just on defense as they do every year, but possibly, dare I say, on offense? Maybe.
Ooh.
Cade, McNamara, if he comes back healthy, I think they've got a good chance to really step up, elevate their play on offense.
Yeah, Iowa's a team with the way that defense has played over the years. You look at them, it's like, just score 24 points a game,
just
guys.
A little bit
You'll
more.
be fine. But you mentioned the dynamic of the league changing with the new schools coming in, but it also changes in that we're expanding to a 12-team playoff. So what that happens, like you come in, Michigan won the national title last year, but they're not even the favorite to win the league going into the season. They're currently 4th in the odds, and you've got Oregon coming in, and you have USC, UCLA, Washington. How do you feel about how this league stacks up with all these new teams and all these playoff spots?
Well, if I'm Michigan, I love that the media or whomever said they're going to be fourth said they're going to be fourth. We like that. Yes, there's been a lot of turnover with the head coach. There's been turnover on that roster as far as players being drafted. And Coach Harbaugh said a year ago, we might set a record with the number of guys drafted. So they knew that there were going to be some new bodies coming into this season. So what did you learn from those guys who are now playing at the next level or who exhausted their eligibility? So I think Michigan's in a good spot. Sharon Moore taking over. We know he can coach.
Right.
He was interim coach, for 3 or 4 of those ball games, and they were undefeated. We know he can coach offensive line. Joe Moore Award back-to-back years for that offensive line. So they've recruited well. So this will be a big challenge, but I think they can handle it. But all the focus is going to be on Ohio State. Someone asked, how does Ohio State handle these expectations? This is where they live. They live with expectations. Now, there's a laser focus on the fact that they now lost to 3 straight to Michigan. So that is really the crux of the situation for them. They need to win that ball game. But as far as all the hype surrounding the program, that's where Ohio State lives. They've always been in that mix. Coming into each season, they're top 2, 3, 4, 5 at least.
Well, you were a Southwestern Conference champion.
That's right, baby. SWC.
But what happens in the locker room when there's a talent level that leads to expectations? Because when I think about Ohio State, you're right. Every single year, everyone's like title or bust, title or bust, title or bust, beat Michigan, win the Big Ten. But there are players that, if you ask me, should be playing on Sundays, and they're going to be playing on Saturdays. There are players that have committed themselves to the effort of trying to right everything that has gone wrong these last couple of years. Can you take us into the mindset of a locker room, of the athletes that look around and know, hey, we might have something special going right here?
Well, it's a lot easier nowadays to stick around with that NIL money.
True.
For
Yes.
a few of these guys. That right there does not make it difficult. Let's see, should I stay or should I go? Everyone talks about culture. Everyone speaks, we got culture. We've got a standard in which to live up to. well, let's see it. And we understand. And the same at my alma mater, Texas. They've won 2 out of the last 10 versus Oklahoma. Now you're in a league where your other arch rivals, Arkansas and Texas A&M, live. So it's as if the Old Southwest Conference is back, or at least partially, for the Longhorns. But Ohio State's always had a standard. They almost knocked off Georgia a couple years ago in the college football playoff. So those guys know how to play. They know what's expected of them. Now can they meet that expectation or those expectations? That's the key, and the accountability comes from your teammates. And when we turned things around at the University of Texas and won a Southwest Conference championship, we were 5-6 the season prior, and we endeavored going into that offseason to take ownership of the program, and that's what all the elite teams do. And when you can get those guys in that locker room to start holding each other accountable, that's when you're cooking with gas.
And you mentioned the championship or the playoff game against Georgia a few years ago, in which they nearly won. They nearly moved on to the national title.
Was it a missed field goal?
Yep. Yeah, it was a missed field goal. It was the Marvin Harrison Jr. injury, and there's all these what-ifs. You think of the narrative surrounding Ohio State right now. Had they won that game, had Marvin Harrison Jr. not gotten hurt, had that field goal been good, they probably end up winning the national title against TCU, and we're looking at them in a completely different way. Whereas now, they didn't win the game. They've lost 3 straight to Michigan. We know they come into the season as the favorite. They're stacked on offense. They're stacked on defense. But there's pressure on Ryan Day to beat Michigan and win the Big Ten.
And this is where they need to definitely be concerned when there's pressure such as that. Just from an individual standpoint, you can taste it. You want to get that exact that revenge, and you can try too hard. Having done that myself, and you get out there and you trip over your own feet. And so, luckily, early on, they can stay within themselves and not look too far ahead. Because that game's, man, you can't play it right now, so don't worry about it. You can only play them one day at a time. And, yes, it's a cliche, but, damn it, it's true. You only play them one day at a time. So don't get ahead of yourself. Keep what you want, that end goal, within your sights. Keep striving for it. But you just got to go through it and take care of your business. Sometimes we do it when we're working out. You're thinking, okay, when this is over, what am I doing tomorrow? No, worry about what you're doing today. Don't worry about the workout tomorrow. Think about this today. And so that's going to be the key for them. They put the work in, and they probably thought about that all off season. They may have signs up in the dorm or wherever they live, in the locker room, but you have to take it one day at a time and stay within yourself. Don't try too hard. They live with expectations at Ohio State, and those are the type of programs where you want to play, where they're lofty goals that have been assigned to your program, and now I have to live up to it. At Texas, the winning tradition of the University of Texas will not be entrusted to the weak nor the timid. We had to live up to that. We were weak, we were timid, and then we turned it around. They have been weak and timid until Sark has turned it around. So big programs, these blue bloods, man, they didn't become blue bloods without living up to a certain standard and establishing a culture. Everyone's culture is a little different. So you got to make sure, even going back to Michigan with all the turnover there, you got to make sure we keep doing what has gotten us to this point. Yeah, there are different faces, different numbers on the jersey, but we still can strive for that same goal and that same tenacity and work ethic.
We got Big Ten expansion.
Yes.
But what about the expansion that we've got coming on Saturdays? Because Aaron Taylor joins the desk with BJ and the coach Rick Neuheisel and Adam Zucker for College Football Today. We've got expanded coverage, an expanded desk. BJ, you excited about Saturdays in the fall? Are you as excited as I am to see the gang back together?
I've said this before. AT has no enemies, only his friends hate him because he's too dang smart. And he's one heck of a football player, way much better football player than I could have ever dreamt of being. Yes, I am super excited about the big fella joining us. We have so much fun on our Insight College Football show on Tuesdays, and bring some of that over to the Saturdays. What a great dude. I mean, we're talking about locker room. He's one of the best teammates ever, whether in the locker room or in this broadcast business. This guy is all about us and about the team. There's nothing selfish about him. Everyone loves him. He's a big old booger bear, and so I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a blast, and I think the audience will enjoy as well.
I do too. BJ, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Let's have some fun here. Big Ten Media Days.